Hello, how are you today? And are you ready to hear mysteries? If you're ready, I'll tell you. On a stormy night, rain poured down from the roof of an old house perched on a hill. The sound of thunder and strong winds added to the eerie and terrifying atmosphere. The house had been abandoned for many years, and no one dared to go near it because it was believed to be inhabited by vengeful spirits. One night, Jing and her friends decided to test their courage by entering this old house. Jing loved mysteries and didn't believe in ghosts, so she was the one who suggested the adventure. "Are we really going in?" Jing asked her friends as they stood in front of the old house's door. "I'm not sure, Jing, but it does sound interesting," Pra, one of her friends, replied. "I think we should give it a try. There's nothing to be afraid of," Kang added confidently. As they entered the house, they found it filled with darkness and the sound of wind blowing through broken windows. The creaking floorboards beneath their feet heightened the terrifying atmosphere. "Hey, look at this!" Pra exclaimed when she saw an old picture hanging on the wall. It was a portrait of a family with a father, mother, and a little girl, but the picture was scratched and half burned. "Who are they?" Kang wondered aloud. "Maybe they were the ones who lived here," Jing replied. While exploring other rooms, they heard a door slam shut. They turned around but saw nothing. What was that? Pra asked, her voice trembling. "Probably just the wind," Kang tried to reassure his friends. Soon after, they heard the faint laughter of a little girl coming from upstairs. The sound sent chills down their spines. "Let's go check it out," Jing said bravely. When they reached the second floor, they found a child's bedroom still intact, with toys scattered on the floor and a creepy doll sitting on the bed. "I think we should leave," Pra said, her voice shaking. But suddenly, the door to the room slammed shut, and they heard whispers growing louder. "Get out, ... get out of here, ... double quotes," the voice repeated. They ran out of the room, desperately trying to find an exit, but every door seemed to lock itself without any reason. "We're trapped," Kang shouted in panic. Jing tried to think of a way out and remembered the stories she had heard about the house. "They say if we go to the attic and find something, we might be able to get out," Jing suggested. They decided to head to the attic and found an old wooden chest sealed tightly. When they opened it, they discovered a creepy old doll and a worn-out letter. "This is a letter from the little girl who used to live here. She was murdered, and her spirit is still restless," Jing read aloud. Understanding the tragic story, they decided to take the doll and the letter to the little girl's grave near the house. Once they did, the doors that had mysteriously locked themselves swung open. They ran out of the house as fast as they could. After that night, they never returned to the old house. Their story became a legend, passed down to warn others that those who dared to enter the house on the hill might encounter the restless spirit and its mysteries. The Oakwood mansion stood on the outskirts of a small town, shrouded in mystery and dread. The once grand estate had fallen into disrepair, its towering structure now a shadow of its former glory. For decades, the locals whispered tales of the supernatural occurrences within its walls, but no one dared to confirm these rumors. Until one autumn evening, when a group of friends, driven by curiosity and a thirst for adventure, decided to explore the mansion. Lena, the fearless leader of the group, had always been fascinated by the paranormal. She convinced her friends, Mark, Sarah, and Jake, to join her on this expedition. As they approached the mansion, the air grew colder, and the rustling leaves seemed to whisper warnings. Undeterred, they pushed open the creaking gate and made their way up the overgrown path. "Are you sure about this, Lena?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Absolutely." "Think of the stories we'll have after tonight," Lena replied with a grin. The front door of the mansion groaned as they pushed it open. Inside, the air was musty, and the darkness seemed to press in on them. They switched on their flashlights, revealing cobwebs, dust-covered furniture, and faded wallpaper. The atmosphere was heavy with an unsettling silence, broken only by the occasional drip of water and the scurrying of unseen critters. Default text. As they ventured further into the mansion, they found a grand staircase leading to the upper floors. "Let's start at the top and work our way down," Lena suggested. They ascended the stairs, each step echoing through the empty halls. On the second floor, they found a series of bedrooms, each more dilapidated than the last. In one room, they discovered a dusty old diary. Mark picked it up and began to read aloud. "November 15th, 1892, the nights grow colder, and the sounds in this house grow louder. I fear something sinister is at play. My husband insists it is merely the wind, but I know better. The whispers, they call my name, ... double quotes ... As Mark read, a cold breeze swept through the room, causing the pages to flutter. Sarah shivered and glanced around nervously. "Let's keep moving," she urged. They continued their exploration, eventually reaching the attic. The air here was thick with dust, and the only light came from their flashlights. In the corner of the attic, they found an old trunk. Inside were various trinkets and a worn photograph of a family, a stern-looking man, a somber woman, and a young girl with sad eyes. "Who do you think they are?" Jake wondered aloud. "Probably the original owners of this place," Lena speculated. "Maybe the diary belonged to the woman." As they examined the photograph, they heard a soft, almost imperceptible sobbing. The sound seemed to come from all around them. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Before anyone could respond, the sobbing grew louder and a chilling presence filled the attic. Lena felt a hand brush against her arm and screamed. They all turned to see a faint, ghostly figure of the young girl from the photograph. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and her lips moved as if she were trying to speak, but no sound came out. "Let's get out of here," Jake yelled, bolting for the stairs. The others followed, their hearts pounding in their chests. They raced down the stairs, but as they reached the second floor, the mansion seemed to come alive. The doors slammed shut, and the walls echoed with ghostly whispers. The friends found themselves separated in the chaos. Lena and Mark ended up in a small sitting room. "We need to find the others and get out of here," Mark said, his voice shaky. Lena nodded, but before they could move, the temperature in the room plummeted. The ghostly figure of the woman from the photograph appeared before them, her eyes filled with anger and pain. "Why have you disturbed us?" she demanded in a voice that seemed to echo from another world. "We're sorry," Lena stammered. "We didn't mean any harm." The woman's ghostly form flickered, and she seemed to soften for a moment. "We are trapped in this place, bound by sorrow and regret. You must help us find peace," she pleaded. "How can we do that?" Mark asked. "Find the source of our torment." "The answers lie in the basement," the ghost replied before fading away. Meanwhile, Sarah and Jake found themselves in the grand dining hall. The long table was set as if for a feast, but the food was decayed and rotten. This sight was both eerie and revolting. "We need to find Lena and Mark," Sarah said urgently. They heard footsteps approaching and turned to see Lena and Mark entering the hall. "We need to go to the basement," Lena explained. "The ghosts want us to help them find peace." Reluctantly, they made their way to the basement. The descent was treacherous, with broken steps and hanging cobwebs. The basement was cold and damp, with an overwhelming sense of dread. In the far corner, they found a hidden door, partially obscured by rubble. Jake and Mark worked together to clear the debris, revealing a small, dark room. Inside, they found a child's doll, a blood-stained dress, and a locket. Lena picked up the locket and opened it, revealing a photo of the young girl and her mother. "This must be it," Lena said. "These items must be connected to their suffering." As they gathered the items, the air grew colder, and the ghostly figures of the family appeared before them. The woman spoke first, her voice filled with sorrow. "Our daughter was taken from us in a terrible accident. Her spirit could not move on, and neither could we. The young girl's ghost stepped forward, her eyes brimming with tears. "I was so scared and alone. Thank you for finding my things." Lena placed a locket around the girl's neck and the other items in her ghostly hands. "You can move on now," she said gently. The family of ghosts began to fade, their expressions softening into peace. "Thank you," the woman whispered as they disappeared. With the spirits at rest, the mansion seemed to lose its oppressive atmosphere. The friends made their way back to the main hall, relieved but exhausted. As they stepped outside, the first light of dawn began to break. "We did it," Sarah said, her voice filled with wonder. "Yeah, we did," Lena agreed. "Let's go home." As they walked away from the Oakwood mansion, they knew they would never forget the night they faced the echoes of the past and brought peace to the restless spirits within.
The story of the Bell Witch is one of the most famous and chilling legends in American folklore. It originates from Adams, Tennessee, and dates back to the early 19th century. The legend revolves around the Bell family and their terrifying encounters with a malevolent spirit known as the Bell Witch. In the early 1800s, John Bell moved his family to a farm in Adams, Tennessee. The Bell family included John's wife, Lucy, and their children. They were a respected and prosperous family, but their peaceful life was shattered by a series of unexplained and terrifying events. The disturbances began in 1817. John Bell noticed a strange, dog-like creature with a rabbit's head in his cornfield. He shot at it, but the creature vanished. That night, the family began hearing mysterious knocking sounds on the walls of their log cabin. These noises continued and grew louder over the following weeks. The family also experienced scratching and gnawing sounds, as if rats were chewing on their bedposts. Blankets were pulled from their beds, and pillows were tossed around. The Bell children were particularly targeted, often being slapped and pinched by unseen hands. As the disturbances escalated, the Bell family began to hear a faint, whispering voice. This voice eventually grew louder and clearer, revealing itself to be that of a woman who claimed to be Kate Bass' witch. Kate Bass was a neighbor of the Bell family, known for being eccentric and somewhat contentious. However, it is unclear if Kate herself had any direct connection to the haunting. The entity, which came to be known simply as the Bell Witch, displayed both malevolent and seemingly benign behaviors. She tormented the Bell family relentlessly, but also engaged in conversations and even sang hymns. The Bell Witch particularly tormented John Bell, whom she referred to as Old Jack. Word of the Bell Witch spread, and many people visited the Bell farm to witness the phenomena. One of the most famous visitors was General Andrew Jackson, who would later become the 7th President of the United States. According to legend, Jackson visited the farm with a group of men, including a self-proclaimed witch hunter. As they approached the property, their wagon stopped suddenly, and the horses could not pull it forward. After some unsettling encounters, including the witch hunter being slapped and terrified, Jackson and his men left the farm. The Bell Witch's malevolent focus on John Bell intensified over time. She frequently cursed and threatened him, and his health began to decline. He suffered from mysterious ailments, including swelling of the throat and difficulty swallowing. In December 1820, John Bell was found dead in his bed. A vial of strange liquid was discovered nearby, and the Bell Witch claimed responsibility for his death, saying she had given him the poison. John Bell's funeral was a somber affair, but even then, the Bell Witch did not relent. She disrupted the service by laughing and singing, causing great distress to the mourners. Following John Bell's death, the disturbances at the Bell farm gradually subsided. The Bell Witch promised to return in 7 years, and in 1828, she reportedly did. Visiting John Bell Jr., the encounters were less violent but still unsettling. The witch then promised to return again in 107 years, in 1935, but no significant events were recorded. The legend of the Bell Witch has persisted over the years, becoming a staple of American folklore. The Bell Witch Cave, located near the Bell Farm, is a popular tourist attraction and is said to be one of the spirit's haunts. The story of the Bell Witch is a chilling reminder of the unknown and the supernatural. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the legend of the Bell Witch continues to captivate and terrify those who hear it. It serves as a testament to the enduring power of folklore and the human fascination with the unexplained. Welcome, dear listeners, to another spine-tingling journey into the unknown. Tonight, we venture into the rural heartland of America, where the quaint and quiet town of Willow Creek hides dark secrets and chilling tales. This is a story of ghostly apparitions, unexplained phenomena, and the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of the countryside. Settle in and prepare yourself for the haunting of Willow Creek. Willow Creek, nestled in the rolling hills and dense forests of the Midwest, was founded in the early 1800s by settlers seeking a peaceful life. The town thrived on agriculture, with generations of families working the fertile land. However, beneath the surface of this idyllic community, strange occurrences began to unfold. Local legends speak of an ancient Native American burial ground that was disturbed during the town's expansion. Many believe that this act of desecration awakened restless spirits, leading to a series of unexplainable events that have plagued Willow Creek for centuries. One of the earliest records of these disturbances comes from the town's founding family, the Harringtons. According to their diaries, shortly after breaking ground on their homestead, they experienced strange noises, sightings of shadow figures, and even physical attacks. Despite these terrifying events, the town continued to grow, and the stories became part of the local folklore. One of the most infamous locations in Willow Creek is the Old Mill. Abandoned for decades, it stands as a decaying monument to the town's past. Residents tell stories of ghostly figures seen wandering the grounds, eerie sounds echoing through the night, and cold spots that send shivers down your spine. The mill's foreman, Samuel Harper, met a tragic end when he fell into the machinery late one night. His untimely death is said to have left his spirit bound to the mill, forever seeking justice for the wrongs he suffered in life. According to eyewitnesses, Samuel's apparition can be seen on foggy nights, inspecting the old machinery and sometimes appearing to warn those who dare to enter the mill. One chilling account comes from a group of teenagers who decided to explore the mill one Halloween night. As they ventured deeper into the building, they reported feeling an intense cold and hearing the grinding of unseen machinery. One of the teens, Matt, claimed to have seen a man in old-fashioned work clothes standing near the main shaft, his eyes filled with sorrow. When they fled the building, Matt found deep scratches on his arm, as if something had tried to grab him. In the early 1900s, a series of mysterious disappearances shook the town. Young children would vanish without a trace, leaving families devastated and the community gripped by fear. Despite extensive searches, no clues were ever found. The first child to disappear was Emily Turner, a bright and curious 8-year-old who loved to explore the woods. She was last seen playing near the edge of the forest, where she often gathered wildflowers. Her parents' desperate search yielded nothing but her favorite doll, left abandoned on a tree stump. As more children vanished, rumors spread of a dark figure seen lurking near the woods, a malevolent presence that preyed on the innocent. Some described it as a tall, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes, while others spoke of a woman in tattered clothes, her face hidden beneath a hood. The disappearances continued for several years, leading many to believe that the spirits of the disturbed burial ground were exacting revenge. One particularly harrowing account comes from Jack, a former resident who moved away as a child. He recalls waking up one night to see a figure standing at the foot of his bed, beckoning him to follow. Terrified, he closed his eyes and hid under the covers until morning. The next day, he learned that his best friend, Tommy, had gone missing that very night. Maple Road, a lonely stretch of highway that winds through the countryside, has long been the site of strange sightings. Travelers report seeing mysterious lights that dance in the distance, only to vanish when approached. These phantom lights have caused numerous accidents, leading many to believe that they are the work of vengeful spirits. The phenomenon first gained widespread attention in the 1950s when a local farmer, Earl Jenkins, crashed his truck after swerving to avoid what he described as floating balls of light, despite sustaining serious injuries. Earl was adamant that the lights were real, sparking a series of investigations by both locals and paranormal enthusiasts. Witnesses described the lights as otherworldly, with an unnatural glow that seems to defy explanation. Some have theorized that the lights are the spirits of those who died in tragic accidents along a road, while others believe they are the remnants of ancient rituals performed by the original inhabitants of the land. One chilling encounter was reported by Lisa and Mark, a couple returning from a late-night drive. They saw the lights ahead of them, initially mistaking them for the headlights of an oncoming car. As they got closer, the lights split into multiple orbs, hovering around their car before disappearing into the woods. Shaken, they turned around and never drove on Maple Road again after dark. No tale of Willow Creek would be complete without mentioning the legend of the Willow Creek Witch. According to folklore, a woman named Eliza Blackwood was accused of witchcraft in the late 1800s and executed by the townspeople. Her spirit is said to haunt the forest, seeking revenge on those who wronged her. Eliza was a healer and midwife, known for her knowledge of herbs and natural remedies. However, during a particularly harsh winter, a series of unfortunate events led the townspeople to suspect her of witchcraft. Crops failed, livestock died, and several children fell ill. Desperate for someone to blame, they turned on Eliza, accusing her of cursing the town. Despite her protests of innocence, she was tried and hanged in the town square. Residents claimed to have seen her ghostly figure, dressed in black, wandering the woods at night. Her presence is often accompanied by the sounds of rustling leaves and whispering voices, sending chills down the spines of those who dare to venture into her domain. Many believe that Eliza's spirit is responsible for the strange occurrences in Willow Creek, including the disappearances and the phantom lights. One spine-chilling account comes from Sarah, a local historian who was researching Eliza's life. While walking through the woods near the site of Eliza's execution, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of dread. She heard whispers in the wind and saw a dark figure moving among the trees. Frozen with fear, she watched as the figure approached, only to vanish just as quickly. Sarah left the forest that day, convinced that Eliza's spirit was still very much alive. As our journey through the haunted town of Willow Creek comes to an end, we are left with more questions than answers. The stories and legends that have been passed down through generations remind us of the thin veil between our world and the unknown. Whether you believe in ghosts and spirits or simply enjoy a good mystery, Willow Creek will always hold a place in the annals of America's most haunted locations. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest tales of the unexplained. Until next time, stay curious and beware of the shadows.
This is the end of the story. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to support news storytelling. Thank you.